Okay, what is up guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to do an updated Phase 2 tier list based on the fact my old Phase 2 tier list was actually fairly accurate, but there were some bits missing. Anyway, I'm remaking a Phase 2 tier list because now that the meta's settled in a bit, it's been like, what, 3 days, 4 days? This is what I think Phase 2 is looking like right now. I'm not going to mess around, this is the list, like I'm just going to jump straight into it. You want to see the list, here it is. I'm not going to sit here and move things about much. I've actually broken it down into more categories than most tier lists go into, because I feel that I had A plus and A minus all in A, which ended up with like what 10 classes in A tier, and I had B plus and B minus all in B tier. So A and B were just stacked with classes. So I was like, I'll break it down a bit. So this means that the jump between A and A plus is quite minimal, whereas the jump between A and B is a lot more significant. Yeah, if you don't understand it, don't worry. This is what it is. I'm going to quickly go through and explain why I think all of the classes are where they are. Starting with Automaton. Automaton is in a really good place. It can win 1v1s, it can win team fights. It drops off a bit when you get into like a 2v1 because you can't stack abilities, even though it feels like the natural thing to be able to do. You get so much energy that you want to be spamming out your abilities, but you can't do that because there's a 6-second cooldown. I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's already in such a good place with 1v1s and survivability and group fights and stuff, it's probably fine, but it just feels a bit underutilized in there, and that's why it's not S tier. Moving on to Werewolf. Werewolf is also in a really good position. It's got really good group fight capabilities. It can chase people down. It has good regen. It is what it was before the update, just with better group fighting skills. So it's really good. It's just an all-around good kit. The reason it's not S tier is because it's not as strong in 1v1s as it could be. And you'll see that there's no class in S tier right now. I just don't think I don't think that there is one class that is better than all the rest, and that is why S tier is sort of left for the time being. Moving down onto A tier, these are a bit worse than A plus. They could compete with A plus still, but they're not quite as good. Starting with Enderman. Enderman's just always been good. If you know how to use Speed 3, this is an S tier class for you. And the fact that it now gets more energy, what do I have to say? Like, Enderman has just always been good. Pirate. People don't agree with me on Pirate as much, but going into a fight with 16 burst damage is actually insane. That's all I have to say. 16 burst, like 16 true burst damage out of nowhere. How do you compete with that? You also get fire swords and power bows and punch bows. It's really good. 2 diamond pieces. Come on. Shaman. Shaman didn't get changed in this update. Shaman is my favourite class in the game. Like, it's Shaman, okay? You get tornado spams, you get speed 2, you give people weakness, you get wolves to help combos. They're like the closest thing you're going to get to a rod in this game. Come on, we love Shaman. Spider. Spider did get nerfed. I would have put Spider in A+, had the leap not have been changed. But the leap has been changed, and it would honestly go down to B if it hadn't got such an increase in its maximum burst damage. If you're leaping 21 blocks and you're dealing the full leap damage, you are dropping players. It is hard to hit the leap, and Venom Strike's a bit worse, but overall, it's still a really good above ground class. And you can still sort of work away in holes. It's not like a awful class in holes, never go in a hole, but it has been nerfed in holes because of the new leap mechanic, the way that leap deals damage. And finally, Squid for A tier. Squid just wins 1v1s, it wins group fights, it has loads of healing, loads of sustain. I am working towards P4 Squid right now, or at least P3, because it's really good. It just performs extremely well in a lot of scenarios. Shark didn't need a buff, Shark got a buff anyway. Shark is sort of a good place. You have the water, which disturbs teammates, but the Blood Rage is the most attractive thing about Shark. Having people in that HP threshold where you start dealing extra damage, and you also get that to act upon yourself. It's just another 20% or whatever it is. I can't actually remember the value. It's really good. Cow is sort of like Squid, but it just tanks more instead of deals damage. Cow and Zombie are actually very close to each other, but you'll see how spread out they are. And I'll sort of talk about that in a sec. I don't want to make this video too long. But Cow is in a really good place because of milk buckets and because of bucket barrier, and it just tanks. Pigman. Before this, I actually moved Pigman from A down to A minus, literally before I started recording, and it's really good. It does less damage in group fights, but you get the strength for 2 hits, which means in 1v1s it's probably better than it was beforehand. And you now get Valor after 8 hits, not 10. Overall, that makes it a really good duelist, a really good fighter. It has the resistance 2 still, so it has a somewhat decent escape, but it's just not quite as rewarding as some of these A tier classes are, so that's why it's an A minus. Going on to B plus, we have Dreadlord. Dreadlord, I haven't actually played Dreadlord yet, but apparently it's quite buggy. But missing out the bugs, I'd say it's in B plus, just a bit worse than Cow and Pig on being able to, like, it's sort of a pseudo tank because of its life gain passive, a lower end pseudo tank, but still a pseudo tank, and it's got incredible burst damage still. But compared to the burst damage of Pirate, it sort of falls off. I don't know, it's okay. I'd still say it's better than Herobrine. I don't want to compare classes right now though. So yeah, I'd put it in B plus. Phoenix, people have pooped on Phoenix way too much. It's really, really beneficial to have in team fights. Honestly, Phoenix would be an A plus tier if it's in the right scenario, but we can't base tier lists off of certain scenarios, so that's why it's down here in B plus. But if you're in a party of 4 and you have a Phoenix who knows what they're doing, and you have classes that work well with them, such as Pigman, Squid, Werewolf, Auto, it's really strong. Moleman now has survivability with enchanted apples. It has good burst damage, as it always has, but it also gets absorption resistance when it uses the ability. It's just all around a really good fighter class. That is what Dreadlord is, that is what Herobrine. They're all just good fighter classes that are sort of here in this B tier, B sort of being perhaps what should be balanced around. Maybe A minus is where you should balance around. So anything above A minus is a bit stronger than it should be, and below A minus is perhaps a bit weaker than it should be. Maybe this A minus, B plus B, these 3 tiers as a whole are what the game should be balanced around. They're probably the most balanced classes in the game. Moving on to B tier, we have Herobrine and Hunter. Both of them sort of do the same thing. They're both just good fighters. One is a hybrid, one is a melee only. Herobrine has insane damage output, just not good survivability, unless you're really good at using your bow to get constant regen. It hasn't actually been changed in this update, so it's sort of... loads of classes have been made better, and that has sort of implicitly made Herobrine worse, because before Herobrine was a lot better than it is, because this meta is very tank heavy. I'll talk about that at the end of the video probably. And Hunter, yeah, Hunter's a good hybrid class, good damage. Moving on to B minus, all 4 of these classes are in a very weird position. They are not bad, they just do not work in the current meta. Golem was not changed, there's nothing wrong with Golem, it is a perfectly good class that I sort of enjoy to play. It is quite boring, but like Golem is a tank, and you can tank with Golem. Simple. Zombie is a tank, and you can tank with Zombie. Simple. Arcanist is a damage class, and you deal a lot of damage with Arcanist, and Skelly is a bow class, and you can deal a lot of damage with a bow. That is what B minus sort of is. Like, they all perform their role, but then they're not good at doing anything else other than that. Zombie and Golem don't have damage. Arcanist has no health, and Skeleton just... It's a tough one, but it sort of starts getting worse and worse the less you're bowing people, and the fact that you now get less energy as well. Skeleton was fine before. Maybe change damage to 6 instead of 18% and leave it like that. Like, say, hey, let's walk away, 6 damage, cool, don't need 18%, whatever. Skeleton can now secure kills. If it couldn't secure kills, if it still had 18% damage, it would probably be down D. Yeah, I'm talking a lot. Okay, C tier. Assassin was buffed very slightly. I don't think that buff was actually mentioned in the original Phase 2 post. Did it need a buff? Yes. Did it get the buff it deserved? Not really. It's still a really good fighter. It's such good damage in a 1v1, but it just doesn't have survivability, and you think Assassin would have survivability because of the nature of the class, but it's just not worth playing right now. And same with Creeper. Creeper got changed quite significantly, and I feel it was changed to attract more people to Creeper rather than changed to give Creeper mains what they want. and because of that, Creeper mains are quite upset from what I've been seeing. Yeah, maybe just take away self damage with Prime TNT, and it'll be okay. I don't know. Snowman would be D tier if it wasn't for the regen. The regen gives it more survivability. It's also now a really good iron class, and it's not useless pre-DM. Honestly, you could maybe bump Snowman up a bit. It's probably pooped on a bit more than I don't know. It's definitely not a balanced kit. It's underpowered at the moment. And then we get onto D tier. They're just not worth playing, these classes. They've sort of ruined Renegade for the time being. Its rend is very hard to get off because of the 44-second arrow expiry time. And they've nerfed Grappling Hook. I sort of feel that all they needed to do with Renegade was nerf Grappling Hook so that it can't run forever. But they nerfed Grappling Hook and they nerfed Rend. Didn't need to happen. And Blaze. Blaze wasn't really changed in the update other than it now has better hit detection with its fireballs. Blaze needs something. It's got good damage, but you compare it to Arcanist's damage, or a hybrid class like Hunter, or just any burst damage, Herobrine, Dreadlord, they all seem to have better survivability than Blaze, and that's why Blaze is in D tier. That is it for the tier list. That's probably like a 10-minute video already. Oh, I don't like doing these. I like doing these videos, but I don't know how much people watch them because they're just very long and wordy. Anyway, I want to just talk about the meta a bit. I think the meta is very, very tank heavy. You have Auto, Werewolf, being the A plus for me, and then in A, you also have Pirate, which is sort of a pseudo-tank. Squid, which is definitely a tank. Enderman's not a pseudo-tank, but it's still got good survivability because of regen and TP. And Spider has the Leap, which gives it good survivability because you can just get in and out of fights very easily. And then A minus has Cow and Pig. Like, other than the two tanks that are sat down here, Golem and Zombie, all of the tanks are in these top tiers. And I think that says something about the game. I think that sort of shows the direction we're going in. We're sort of getting away from high damage glass cannons like Dread and Herobrine and sort of moving to a place where tanks are a lot stronger. This is coming from the siphoning from Auto, the insane healing that Phoenix can now do, insane healing Werewolf can do. Like, if you look at Werewolf's healing and then on top of that you have a Phoenix giving him extra healing and an Auto taking the true damage away from these classes like Dread and Herobrine, in a whole that is just really, really powerful. And with Hoppers sort of dominating above ground, you can't really balance the game around Hoppers, I know, but we can't deny that there are loads of Hoppers in the game. They're dominating above ground. You're going to be spending a lot of time underground, sort of hiding away, waiting for them. And in that, you don't want to be playing Renegade or Blaze. You want to be playing these big tankier classes that can survive in holes. Anyway, that is my Phase 2 tier list. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. I hope this has helped some of you people who don't really know what classes to be playing right now. This is, of course, subjective. This is not me telling you this is what to play. This is my opinion. I hope you know that. Thank you for watching. Here's to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get there soon.